Yes, my G's. Hope you're all doing great. I thought I'd do a cheeky Reese bass for you. We've done a couple of garage videos the last two uploads, and I will make more of those depending on your comments. But anyway, I needed a quick break to go back to something a bit more classic, and so I created a classic Reese bass for you in phase plant, and I'm going to break it down. And it's very, very classic sounding. Here's how it is in context of the loop. Alrighty then, so let's break this one down, my G's. Let's turn off my post-processing here, and we've got to give this an apt name, haven't we? So it's an apt Reese. Okay, so let's turn off the effects. Here's where I do the thing that I always do, which is I'm too lazy to edit this part out, so you just get to watch me reverse engineer everything. So isn't that wonderful, hey? So we're going to start off with a... let's start off with the triangle wave, okay? I'll turn the filter off as well. So a triangle wave. The whole phase plant patch has a fair bit of glide on, 125 milliseconds. But yeah, triangle wave with a bit of the sync turned up as well. It actually becomes closer to a saw wave in the end, probably like 60% triangle, 40% saw, maybe something like that. Anyway, that's the first, that's the first part of the sound. Low triangle. Right, now let's do our main Reese saw waves. So one saw wave at 0.02, and another saw wave down here at minus 0.41. So that creates the detuning because I've turned the pitch to be, quite a far away from zero. Just enough to give it a nice amount of movement, so... That's the classic Reese sound, baby. Next, let's get in another bit of sine wave. Basically, pimping out some of the mid-range a bit. It's quite a gritty one. Because I've got the sync mode on here as well, and also I've FM'd it, right? So I've got to explain things a bit more carefully here now, haven't I? This top saw wave, I used the sync mode on this one as well, again, so I made it a bit more, changed the tone of it a little bit, and I set the output of this one to go into the phase of the sine wave here, which is at minus 12, and swinging that to the left, okay? Getting a nice gritty part to the sound coming in. So that's everything raw and unprocessed. Which is great, but obviously for Reese, we want to make it actually a bit softer and smoother and more natural and nice and yummy, So the next thing was to filter it then. Low pass filtering. So here I've got the cutoff set to just under 1,000. And then I'm actually going to swing on my LFO now and turn the cutoff to basically open and close a little bit the brightness on the filter. Okay, opening and closing the filter gives it a little bit of a brightness kind of movement, but it doesn't ever go all the way up so that it opens up the sort of harsh parts of the saw wave. That's important. All right. So next, before I just move on to the effects, I just checked there was a little extra modulation in this part of the sound design already, and that is the exact detuning of one of the saw waves here. So it actually goes to the right a tiny bit. So it actually gets a little bit slower, the detune movement, as it goes closer to center as the LFO comes up, So the LFO brings that zero a little bit closer to center, not all the way, but it kind of slows down the detuned movement in that sense. what you have, because in my MIDI, the pitch is actually going up here. I do like an octave jump plus a semitone. So actually the detuning should speed up even more, but because I have this modulation on, it controls that movement so it doesn't speed up as much. And that's just a creative choice. It's not that you have to do that for every Reese, but obviously the detuning will naturally go faster with a higher note, but I'm also controlling the speed of it down here, you know, as a separate thing. Hope I explained that well enough. So let's move on to the comb filter next, and this is just really nice, and I absolutely love this part of the sound. And if I leave the mix on 100 so I can tell you what it's doing, I put my LFO on the actual frequency amount here and swing that back to the left 6%. And it means that the LFO actually moves the frequency position of the comb filter. And what that actually does is it sort of creates like a, almost like a binaural stereo movement. Obviously it's not binaural, but it actually moves the Reese around like in the stereo field in a really, really nice way. And it's something that I've tried to do for years, is like figure out how certain artists have such a nice stereo movement on their sound, but it really just, you can sort of imagine it moving around, and it's not because of the panning, you know, because then it would have lost its power. And this is one way that you can do that. That's why I love the comb filter, because the movement that you can create with it is so nice. But I just mix that in, okay? So I mix in the comb filter around, what is it, 19%, and then it comes up a bit. So the stereo, it kind of gets a bit more stereoed as the LFO comes up. So really, really nice there. Next, I've got a notch filter. This is a non-linear filter notch with a saturated mode, starting off around 260 Hertz and just modulating that up about 9.5%. Nice notch filter movement. Getting that classic Reese feeling by doing that. It's just what sort of is done, you know? It's just part of the formula. You could leave it without the notch filter, but it just provides a nice bit of shaping to the sound, so I like it. A little bit of flanging after that. The mix is around 27% on the flanger. The rate is sort of fairly slow, a little medium slow, but yeah, flanging. Warms up the sound, I would say. Brings it to life completely. Like, really important to have that on there. Next, I've used the Beef Asim distortion on the shaper table. It's very aggressive and it gets a bit gritty and overcooked if I leave the mix up all the way. So I'm just doing that around 22%. You've got a little bit of extra saturation and warmth and power, but not too much over distortion. Alright, here's where I get a bit more interesting by adding a cool movement to the Reese. And here's where I use the ring mod. Alright, let's hear what happens. So here basically what it's doing if the mix is all the way up. Okay, so this is creating almost just like a tremolo in the sound. And to do that, all you do is use the default modulator, the sine oscillator, swing the bias up to 100%, and then, yeah, you can control the amount of it with the mix, obviously. But what's important is the frequency position. If it's too high, as you see here, it does all these kind of weird pitch movements, and it's really only in this low area, but sort of below 100, where that's where the tremolo activates. So that's where the sine oscillator gets to its, you know, certain speed to create that tremolo effect. And so how I've played it is I've played it so the mix comes up a bit as the speed kind of slows down a bit. So when you get to the top of the LFO, the tremolo comes on, but it's coming on like it starts off fast and it gets slow at the top and then it speeds up again. Alright, so yeah, nice little, just a little bit of fun, fun extra movement on the sound. The reverb, is really important for me. This is 16%. Turning the width up as well, so really creating a better, a wider stereo feeling with the reverb. Every Reese sound definitely needs a reverb on it. It's just no good without, in my opinion. A little high shelf boost to finish. That's it, really. Sort of just around 3K and up, you can see where the frequency is starting to drop off because I've low passed it all, remember, and everything else that's been added in afterwards is sort of, yeah, been sort of artificially boosting the high end again. And so again, I'm sort of redoing that here. All right, so that's wonderful. That's the aptly named Reese, and yeah, great sound, classic drum and bass Reese, easy to make in phase plant. Thought I'd switch up to phase plant today for a bit of a change, and a bit of processing, taking out a bit of the sides and the low end because I've done a lot of stereo effects on the sound, so just cleaning up the stereo in the low end. And then a little bit of basically sidechaining. Sidechaining the low end, sort of everything below 500 to the kick, and then for the snare, sidechaining everything sort of between 250 and 1K, around abouts there. Multi-band sidechaining to the kick and snare to create extra space in the whole mix down. Okay, not worrying about the rest of the tops and everything for now. But definitely could do something. On a future video, I might share my little top sidechaining secret, which I just unveiled, which isn't that secret anymore. But yes, bringing those tops down a bit on the sidechain would be a great move, I think, going forward. But I won't do that today, because I'm going to keep this video nice and short and sweet and just keep the focus on the sound design with phase plant of the Reese. All right, my G's, thank you very much for watching my video today. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for all your support on the channel. It really means a lot to me. And yes, may I also remind you again, if you'd like to have production lessons with me, you can book in via the links down below. Best way to level up your sound at speed is to do that, and then also join my Discord via Patreon. Get involved in our feedback live streams, get to know the other members, make friends in there, make lifelong connections, get feedback on your tracks from other people, not just me, so you've got a group hive mind feedback. And finally, if you just want some fat, juicy sound design patches to play around with and you're not too bothered about tweaking everything to the exact percentage, I've done it all for you in my phase plant preset packs, in my vital preset packs, and in my current preset pack, which are all accessible on my website. And yeah, definitely recommend those. If you want mixing and mastering, email me at info@artifactmusic.com. And if you want me to DJ in a Blockbusters, no, sorry, where did DJs go again? In a cafe near you. If you want me to DJ while you serve cappuccino, write me an email and I'll fly over and we'll make it happen. All right, my G's, that's it from me today. More from me soon. Much love.